In this tutorial, we are going to build a simple bubble app that can be integrated with the SaaSBox dashboard, where the user and plan information is shared with the bubble application. This would be a good starting point to build a dashboard-based SaaS using Bubble. This is also a good tutorial to understand the basics of Bubble if you have never used it before. Let's get started. Inside your Bubble homepage, create a new Bubble app named Bubble SaaS Demo. Once the application is created, select Start with a blank page on the left. You will see a blank page. Let's first design our API call to SaaSBox. For this, select Plugins from the left menu. Click on Add Plugins. Search and find the API connector and install it as a plugin. Inside the API connector, select Add another API. Name the API as Fetch User. Select HTTP Basic Authentication from the right. At this point, we need information from our SaaSBox instance. Go to SaaSBox.net if you haven't signed up for a free plan, and create an application. From the admin panel, go to the section that says Inbound API Keys. Copy the application ID. Go back to API Connector and paste it in the username field. Next, copy the API key listed at the bottom. Paste it in the password field. On API Connector, go down and click on Add a shared header. Add content type application/JSON. Next, expand the API call section at the bottom. Name the call as Fetch User. Select Use as Action. Make a post call and add the API address to get the user. Skip adding any parameters. We will pass a one-time code in the body of the call. For the JSON body, add OTC as an object field as shown. Make sure to uncheck the Private option on the parameter. Click on Initialize Call. Because we do not have a valid OTC, this call will fail. Go back to SaaSBox and click on Go to App in the bottom left of your dashboard. You will see the user dashboard area and a one-time code number. Copy and paste that number on your Fetch User API call in the OTC field as shown on the screen. Make sure to add double quotes around the number. Once you click Initialize Call, you will see various fields of a user object, such as its name, plan ID, plan name, limits, and so on. Click on Save and replace the number in the call back to OTC. Make sure to uncheck the Private option on the parameter. We are now done setting up our API call to fetch a user and his plan. Since we now know this current user's data and subscription plan information, we can tailor the data we show to this user inside Bubble, specific to the user and their subscription. Now, let's switch to the Design tab to define our user profile UI elements. Drag and drop a text section from the left. Label its appearance as User Profile, styled as shown in the video. Next, drag and drop an image element and adjust it to be a square. Drag and drop another text element. Name this element as username. Add a new custom state called init. Choose the state type as text. Set the appearance field of the element to its init state. In this case, username's init. Drag another text element. This time name it as user email. Add a new custom state called init. Choose the state type text again. Set the appearance field of the element to its init state. In this case, user email's init. All text elements' appearance must be set to that element's init state. Next, add another text element and name it as users is admin. Repeat the same process as shown. The isAdmin element will tell us if this user is an admin of this SaaS or a regular user. Next, add another text section called User Plan and style it as shown. Next, let's add a group element to group the profile elements we created. From the Style menu, choose a solid border style of 1 pixel width and a light gray color. Next, let's add another text element and name it User Plan. This will tell us the current plan for the user, such as Free or Pro plan and so on. Define an init state as before and set the appearance to the user plan's init state. Next, we will add another text element, but use it in a different way. Drag and drop a text element right below the image element. If you don't see the image element, it might be hidden behind the group object we added earlier. Arrange the group object to be sent to the back from the top menu. Name the text element as Profile Picture URL. Define the init state of type text as usual. Instead of setting the appearance of it to the init state, make this text element invisible. We will use this text element state from the image element shortly. Now if you check the error above, we have one issue displayed in red. We have not filled out the image source. Go ahead and select the image element and its properties. For the dynamic image field, select Insert Dynamic Data and select Profile Picture URL init state from the menu. We are now done setting up the basic settings for our user profile UI. We will look into adding minor style touch-ups later. Let's now go to the Workflow tab to set up binding the user data. Here we will learn how to populate the user profile UI using the results from the Fetch User call we defined earlier. Click on the box that says Add an event as shown. Select Page as Loaded Event. Select Add an Action. Then from the pop-up, select Plugins, Fetch User. When Fetch User is selected, configure the body OTC parameter. Click on Insert Dynamic Data, then select Get Data from Page URL. In the parameter name, type OTC is shown. Close the pop-up. This has effectively enabled us to grab a query parameter OTC from the application URL and pass it as a body parameter to our Fetch User API call. Look up query parameter documentation if you don't know what this means. Let's go back to the Workflow panel to complete the flow we created. We will now add a new action that populates the profile UI elements. Select Step 2 to add a new action. From the list of actions, select Element Actions. From the list, select Set State. From the Set State menu that pops up, select the first element to populate, that is, the username element. For the Custom State field, select Init State. Remember that init is a state that we have defined earlier. The value field must reflect the result we got from the Fetch User API call. For this, scroll up to find the Fetch User API Results option. From the list that pops up, select User First Name. What we will do next is a small trick to merge two results, the first name and last name, in one value. For doing this, select More from the Value field, and then select the Append option. And then from the same menu, select Arbitrary Text. For the text field that pops up, simply add a space character and close the pop-up. This will be the space character between the first name and last name. Click on More again, and this time from the list, select the option Append, and then Result of Step 1, and then User Last Name. Close the Set State pop-up. We have effectively obtained a user's full name and merged it in one result. Next, click on Step 3 to add another action. Select Element Actions, Set State from the menu. This time select the user email element. For the custom state field, select init. For the value field, select result of step 1 and user email. Close the Set State pop-up. Next, we will add other actions to fill out the rest of the UI elements. But before that, go back to the Design tab to give a name for the image element. Select the profile image and name it as Profile Picture as shown. Go back to the workflow to add a new step. This time, select the invisible text field we had generated called Profile Picture URL for the Set State action. For the value field, select Result of Step 1 and User Avatar URL. Close the Set State pop-up. As you recall, we had set the dynamic image field of the profile picture to the init state of the invisible text field we called as Profile Picture URL. Go back to the workflow to add a new step. Next, add another action and repeat the same steps as before for the other text UI elements as shown. We have effectively defined the init state of all UI elements based on the result fields of the FetchUser API call. Our application is ready to be tested. Click on Preview in the top right and run the application. The data fields will be empty as expected, since we don't have the one-time code. Go back to your SaaSBox instance and click on the Go to App button. Copy and paste the OTC as a query parameter in the browser URL as shown. This is typically a question mark, followed by OTC equals the number you have copied. Now reload the browser, and you will see the profile information populated. As a result, we are able to use the user profile and plan information inside a Bubble application. This way, we can solely focus on the Bubble application functionality, while SaaSBox becomes our subscription engine that handles recurring plans, plan changes, invoices, etc. Let's now go one step further and embed the Bubble application inside the SaaSBox user dashboard. For this, first go to Settings tab in your Bubble application. Change the Private App setting in the top right to Everyone Can View. You will also want to deploy your application to live, as seen in this menu. Before doing that, we need to find the option Block All iframes in the same page and change it to Allow All iframes. We can now deploy the application as live, giving it a name, SaaS Demo with Bubble. Click on Deploy. Next, go back to your SaaSBox instance and click on Go to App. Here, you can click on Dashboard Templates to edit this page. Under Page Templates, choose the Live Templates Edit option. Select the App directory, then click Edit button for the main page. You can also do this step on your local machine, but we will skip that for now. In the editor, delete the template lines as shown. Replace the text where it says How to edit this page with Bubble Embed Demo. On the next line, let's create an iframe element. To do this, we simply type iframe, open parenthesis, then src equals the Bubble application URL in double quotes as shown. We then add width and height parameters as shown. Our embed is almost complete. Now, let's append the OTC parameter to the bubble application URL, as we did before. First, add a question mark, then OTC equals, and complete the string with double quotes. To append the OTC, add a plus, and simply type OTC. Save and go to the user dashboard again. You will now see the bubble application embedded, with current users' information displayed, including their active subscription. The OTC value will dynamically update each time the dashboard is loaded by the user. This will securely share the unique user information with our bubble application. Inside our bubble application, we can then deliver the data or service tailored for this specific user. As a result, we can focus our efforts in our actual bubble application, while SaaSBox becomes the engine that handles the rest, including users, subscriptions, and professionally hosting our SaaS marketing pages. We hope you will create amazing SaaS applications using this integration of Bubble and SaaSBox. Don't forget to check out our Discord channel to ask questions. See you next time.